2. Misunderstanding about meditation. Even a meditation can be wrong. People have a wrong notion that all meditations are right. It is not so. Meditations can be wrong. Any meditation that leads you deep into concentration is wrong, and it will not result in compassion. You will become more and more closed rather than becoming open. Concentration has its uses, but it is not meditation. In scientific work, in scientific research, you need concentration. You have to concentrate on one problem and exclude everything else. So much so that you become almost unmindful of the remaining world. That's why scientists become absent-minded. People who concentrate too much always become absent-minded because they don't know how to remain open to the world. I was reading an anecdote. "I've brought a frog," said the scientist, a professor of zoology, beaming at his class. "Fresh from the pond, in order that we might study its outer appearance and later dissect it." He carefully unwrapped the package he carried, and inside was a neatly prepared ham sandwich. The good professor looked at it with astonishment. "Odd. I distinctly remember having eaten my lunch." That goes on happening to scientists. They become one-pointed and the whole mind becomes narrow. A Buddha is not a man of concentration. He is a man of awareness. He has not been trying to narrow down his consciousness. On the contrary, he has been trying to drop all barriers so that he becomes totally available to existence. Concentration makes you one-pointed at a very great cost. 99% of life is discarded. Let me tell you a few basic things. 1. Meditation is not concentration but relaxation. One simply relaxes. One simply relaxes into oneself. The more you relax, the more you feel yourself open, vulnerable. Relax into yourself. Close your eyes and listen to all that is happening all around. Don't deny anything, because the moment you deny, you are denying something in you. And when I say watch, don't try to watch. Otherwise, you will become tense again and you will start concentrating on the breath. Simply relax, remain relaxed, and look, because what else can you do? You are there, nothing to be done, everything accepted, nothing to be denied, rejected. No struggle, no fight, breathing, going deep. What can you do? Simply watch. Introspection is thinking about yourself. Self-remembering is not thinking at all. It is becoming aware about yourself. The difference is subtle but very great. Western psychology insists on introspection, and Eastern psychology insists on self-remembering. When you introspect, what do? For example, you are angry. You start thinking about anger, how it is caused. You start analyzing why it is caused. You start judging whether it is good or bad. You start rationalizing that you had been angry because the situation was such. You brood about the anger. You analyze the anger. But the focus of attention is on the anger, not on the self. Your whole consciousness is focused on the anger. The Eastern emphasis is not on the anger. The Eastern emphasis is on the self. To be aware when you are angry. To be so aware, not to think, because thinking is a sleeping thing. You can think while you are fast asleep. There is no need for awareness. In fact, you continuously think without being at all aware. The thinking goes on, even when you are fast asleep at night. Eastern psychology says, be aware, don't try to analyze anger. Just look at it, but look with awareness. Don't start thinking. In fact, if you start thinking, then thinking will become a barrier to looking at anger. Then thinking will grab it. Then thinking will be like a cloud surrounding it. When there is not even a ripple of thinking between you and the anger is faced, encountered. You don't dissect it. You don't bother to go to its source, because the source is in the past. You don't judge it, because the moment you judge, thinking starts. You don't take a vow that I will not do it, because that vow leads you into the future. This is the beauty of meditation. If you can look at the anger, it disappears. It not only disappears in the moment, the very disappearance of it by your deep look gives you the key. There is no need to use will. There is no need to make any decision for the future. There is no need to go to the original source from which it comes. It is unnecessary. You have the key now. Look at anger, and the anger disappears, and this look is available forever. Whenever anger is there, you can look. Then this looking grows deeper. There are 3 stages of looking. First, when the anger has already happened and gone, as if you look at a tail disappearing, an elephant has gone. Only the tail is there. When the anger was there, you were so deeply involved in it, you could not really be aware. When the anger has almost disappeared, 99% gone, only 1%. The last part is going, disappearing into the horizon. The second state is when the elephant is there, not the tail, when the situation is ripe. You are really angry to the peak, boiling. Then you become aware. Then there is still a third stage. The anger has not yet come. It's still coming. Not the tail, but the head. It is just entering your area of consciousness, and you become aware. then the elephant never materializes. You kill the animal before it was born. That is birth control. The phenomenon has not happened. Then it leaves no trace. 4. The science of meditation. Experiment. Natural evolution has stopped at man. This is a fact. Even scientists are becoming more and more aware of it. For thousands of years, nothing has happened to man. He has remained the same, as if nature's work is done. Now man has to take the course of further growth into his own hands. That's what religion is. Religion means that man starts standing on his own feet, becomes responsible for his own being, starts looking and searching and inquiring into who am I? And this should not only be curiosity. Philosophy is out of curiosity. Religion is a very sincere, authentic search. And there is a great difference between curiosity and inquiry. Curiosity is childish. You would like to scratch and then you feel satisfied. Philosophy is that scratching. Religion is a life and death matter. In philosophy, you never become involved. You play with the toys, but it is not a question of life and death. You accumulate knowledge, but you never practice it. I have heard, once upon a time, there lived an eminent Confucian scholar. He was a gentleman of nearly 80 and was said to have no equal in learning and understanding. Then a rumor arose that far away a new doctrine has sprung up that was even deeper than his knowledge. The old gentleman found this intolerable and decided that the issue had to be settled one way or the other. In spite of his age, he set out on the long journey. After months of hardship on the road, he arrived at his destination, introduced himself and told the purpose of his visit. His host, who was a master of a new Zen school, merely quoted, "To avoid doing evil, to do as much good as possible. This is the teaching of all the Buddhas." On hearing this, the Confucian gentleman flared up. "I have come here in spite of the dangers and hazards of such a long and rough journey, and in spite of my advanced age. And you just quote a little jingle that every 3-year-old child knows by heart. Are you mocking me?" But the Zen master replied, "I am not mocking you. Please consider that, although it is true that every 3-year-old child knows, even a man of 80 fails to live up to it. Religion is not a question of knowing, but of living up to it. Religion is life, and unless you live it, you will not know anything about what it is. To live religion, one has to drop all philosophy, and one has to start experiments. The complexity is great because in the world of religion, the experimenter and the experimented upon are the same. Hence the complexity, hence the strangeness, hence the incomprehensibility, hence the illogicality. The knower and the known are the same in the world of religion. In the world of science, the knower and the known are separated. Things are clear-cut, demarcated. But in religion, everything merges, melts into everything else. Even the knower cannot remain separate. Religion does not give you knowledge separate from the knower. It gives you experience not separate from the knower, but as the very essence of the knower. To be a religious seeker, one has to drop all philosophizing. One has to drop all a priori knowledge, because all a priori knowledge is a hindrance. It stops your inquiry. Inquiry becomes dishonest. It becomes poisoned from the very beginning. How can you inquire if you have already concluded? To be a Christian and to be a religious is impossible. To be a Hindu and to be a religious is impossible. How can you be religious if you are a Hindu? Being a Hindu means that you have already concluded. Now, what is the point of inquiry? Society is very interested in giving you conclusions. It is not interested in giving you consciousness so that you can conclude on your own. Before you become conscious, before any inquiry starts, society stops you with all kinds of conclusions to stop the inquiry, because the inquirer is dangerous to society. The non-inquirer is convenient. The non-inquirer is obedient. He simply takes the orders, the commandments, and follows them. He is conformist. He is conventional. Once you have stopped somebody's mind with a belief, you have drugged him. Belief is a drug. He starts believing. He goes on believing. Slowly he starts thinking that his belief is his experience. Belief is a system of hypnosis. You go on suggesting to a child, you are a Hindu, you are a Hindu. You take him to the temple, you lead him through religious, so-called religious rituals, ceremonies. And by he becomes conditioned to the idea that he is a Hindu, that all that is Hindu is right, and all that is non-Hindu is wrong. The same is being done in every kind of society. You have drugged the child. His very source of consciousness has been poisoned. And if you believe something, it starts appearing to be true. If you start believing something, you will find all kind of support for it, all kind of arguments to help it. Your ego becomes involved. It is not only a question of truth. Deep down it is a question, who is right, me or you? How can I be wrong? I have to be right. So you choose all that supports you. Life is so complex. You can find all kinds of things in life, whatsoever you choose. If you are a pessimist, you will find all kinds of arguments in life that support pessimism. If you are an optimist, there are all kinds of arguments are available to you. The man who believes is a closed man. Meditation and technique. All techniques can be helpful, but they are not exactly meditation. They are just a groping in the dark. Suddenly one day, doing something, you will become a witness. Doing a meditation like dynamic or kundalini or whirling, suddenly one day the meditation will go on, but you will not be identified. You will sit silently behind, you will watch it. That day meditation will have happened. Meditation is witnessing. To meditate means to become a witness. Meditation is not a technique at all. This will be very confusing to you because I go on giving you techniques. In the ultimate sense, meditation is not a technique. Meditation is an understanding. But you need technique because the final understanding is very far away from you. Right this moment, you can attain it, but you will not attain it because your mind goes on. This very moment it is possible, and yet impossible. Techniques will bridge the gap. They are just to bridge the gap. So in the beginning, techniques are meditations. In the end, you will laugh. Techniques are not meditation. Meditation is a totally different quality of being. It has nothing to do with anything, but it will happen only in the end. Don't think it has happened in the beginning. Effort. Meditation techniques are doings because you are advised to do something. Even to meditation is to do something. Even to sit silently is to do something. Even to not do anything is a sort of doing. So in a superficial way, all meditation techniques are doings. But in a deep way, they are not, because if you succeed in them, the doing disappears. Only in the beginning does it appear like an effort. If you succeed in it, the effort disappears and the whole thing becomes spontaneous and effortless. In the beginning, there will be effort. There will be doing, but only in the beginning, as a necessary evil. You have to remember constantly that you have to go beyond it. All these techniques are just to help you to come to an effortless moment. The inner transformation, the inner realization, they cannot happen through effort because effort is a sort of tension. With effort, you cannot just relax totally. the effort will become a barrier. With this background in mind, if you make effort, by and by you will become capable of living it also. Simplicity. These methods which we will be discussing have been given by someone who has achieved. Remember this. They will look too simple, and they are. To our mind, the things which are so simple cannot be appealing. If techniques are so simple and the abode is so near, if you are already in it, if techniques are so simple and the home is so near, you will look ridiculous to yourself. Then why are you missing it? Rather than feel the ridiculousness of your own ego, you will think that such simple methods cannot help. That is a deception. Your mind will tell you that these simple methods cannot be of any help. Remember another thing. The ego is always interested in something which is difficult, because when something is difficult, there is a challenge. Because these techniques are so simple, they will not have any appeal to your mind. Remember that which appeals to the ego cannot help your spiritual growth. Only that which has no appeal to your ego can be a help toward transformation. These techniques are so simple that you can achieve all that is possible to human consciousness at any moment that you decide to achieve it. 5. Tips for meditation. Preparation, space, place, posture, comfort. When you're trying to meditate, put the phone off the hook. Discharge yourself. Put a notice on the door that for 1 hour nobody should knock. Find a place where nature has not yet been disturbed, polluted. If you cannot find such a place, then just close your door and sit in your own room. If it is possible, have a special room for meditation in your house. Every day you meditate. It observes your vibration when you are in meditation. And the next day when you come, those vibrations start falling back on you. They help. When a person has really become a meditator, he can meditate sitting before a cinema screen. He can meditate on a railway platform. For 15 years, I was continuously traveling around the country, day in, day out, always on a train, on a plane. That makes no difference. Once you have become really rooted in your being, nothing makes any difference. But this is not for the beginner. Your posture should be such that you can forget your body. What is comfort? When you forget your body, you are comfortable. When you are reminded continuously of the body, you are uncomfortable. So whether you sit in the chair or sit on the ground is not the point. Be comfortable, because if you are not comfortable in the body, you cannot long for the blessings which belongs to deeper layers. Movement and cleansing. I never tell people to begin with just sitting. Begin from where beginning is easy. Otherwise, you will start to feel many things unnecessary. If you begin with sitting, you will feel much disturbance inside. The more you try to just sit, the more disturbance will be felt. You will become aware only of your insane mind and nothing else. If you make a sincere effort to just sit, you may really go insane. Only because people do not really try sincerely does insanity not happen more often. With a sitting posture, you begin to know so much madness inside you that if you are sincere and continue it, you may really go insane. You must be allowed to get to know certain things gradually. Knowledge is not always good. It must unfold itself slowly as your capacity to observe it grows. Without dancing madly, chaotically, with crying, with chaotic breathing, I allow your madness. Then you begin to be aware of a subtle point, a deep point inside you which is silent and still. In contrast to the madness on the periphery, you will feel very blissful. If you begin with something active, something positive, alive, moving, it will be better. Then you will begin to feel an inner stillness growing. A meditation technique that begins with movement action helps you in other way also. It becomes a catharsis. When you are just sitting, you are frustrated. Your mind wants to move and you are just sitting. Every muscle turns, every nerve turns. You are trying to force something upon yourself that is not natural for you. That which you are suppressing is to be thrown out, not suppressed. It has become an accumulation within you because you have been constantly suppressing it. The whole upbringing, the civilization, education is suppressive. You have been suppressing much that could have been thrown out very easily with a different education, with a more conscious education. With a better awareness of the inner mechanism of the mind, the culture could have allowed you to throw out many things. For example, when a child is angry, we tell him, "Do not be angry." He begins to suppress anger. By and by, what was a momentary happening becomes permanent. There will be problems. If we say be angry, then you are going to be angry at someone. But a child can be molded. It can be given a pillow and told, be angry with the pillow, be violent with the pillow. From the very beginning, a child can be brought up in a way in which the anger is deviated. Some object can be given to him and he can go on throwing the object until his anger goes. Within minutes, within seconds, he will have dissipated his anger and there will be no accumulation of it. You have accumulated anger, sex, violence, greed, everything. Now this accumulation is a madness within you. It is there inside you. If you begin with any suppressive meditation, you are suppressing all of this. You are not allowing it to be released. So I begin with catharsis. First, let the suppressions be thrown into the air. And when you can throw your anger into the air, you have become mature. 3 essentials. Meditation has a few essential things in it, whatever the method. And those few essentials are necessary in every method. The first is a relaxed state, no fight with the mind, no control of the mind, no concentration. Second, just watching with a relaxed awareness whatever is going on, without any interference, just watching the mind silently without any judgment, evaluation. The 3 things are relaxation, watching, no judgment. And slowly, a great silence descends over you. All movement within you ceases. You are, but there is no sense of I am, just a pure space. There are 112 methods of meditation. I have talked on all those methods. They differ in their constitution, but the fundamentals remain the same. Relaxation, watchfulness, a non-judgmental attitude. 6. Obstacles to meditation. The ego. You are continuously prepared by the society, by the family, by the school, by the church, by everything around you to be egoistic. Even modern psychology is based on strengthening the ego. The whole idea of modern psychology, modern education, is that unless a person has a very strong ego, he will not be able to struggle in life. From the very beginning, we start telling him, come first in your class, and when he does, everybody praises him. What are you doing? You are filling his ego from the very first beginning. You are giving him a certain ambition. In every way, the ego is the greatest disease that can happen to man. If you succeed, your ego becomes big. If you enter meditation with this idea, then of course you cannot succeed. So if the ego is big, it prevents you. Your real center is not only your center. It is the center of the whole. But we have created small centers of our own, homemade, manufactured by ourselves. There is a need for this because the child is born without any boundary, with no idea of who he is. It is survival necessity. This image is going to be false because nobody else can know who you are. And nobody else can say who you are. Your inner reality is not available to anybody except you. Your inner reality is impenetrable to anybody except you. The day you realize that your identity is false, put together, that you have collected opinions from people, Sometimes just sit silently and think who you are. Many ideas will arise. Just go on watching from where they come and you will be able to find the source. Something comes from your mother. Much. About 80%. Something comes from your father. Something comes from your school teachers. Something comes from your friends, society. Just watch. You will be able to tell from where each idea comes. There are things which nobody can do for you. At least one thing can never be done by anybody else. That is to give you the answer to who you are. You have to do yourself. There is a fear when one enters oneself because chaos comes in. Somehow you have managed with your false identity. You have settled with it. You know your name is this or that. You have certain credentials, certificates, degrees, universities, colleges. Before you can come to your center, you will have to pass through a very chaotic state. That's why there is fear. Nobody wants to go in. People go on teaching, know yourself. We hear it, but we never listen. We never bother about it. There is a very certain idea in the mind that chaos will be let loose and you will be lost in it. You will be engulfed in it. Because of the fear of that chaos, we go on clinging to anything from the outside. But this is wasting your life. The mind and its tricks. The second hindrance on the path of meditation is your constantly chattering mind. You cannot sit even for a single minute. The mind goes on chattering. Relevant, irrelevant, meaningful, meaningless. Thoughts go on. It is a constant traffic, and it is always rush hour. You see a flower and you verbalize it. You see a man passing and you verbalize it. Every situation is verbalized. So the first requirement toward meditative growth is to be aware of this constant verbalizing and to be able to stop it. In meditation, sometimes you feel a sort of emptiness that is not really emptiness. I call it just a sort of emptiness. When you are meditating for certain moments, for a few seconds, you will feel as if the thought process has stopped. When this happens, don't become a victim of it. When you feel a certain silence is descending, don't start verbalizing it because you are destroying it. Wait, simply wait. Don't do anything. Don't say this is emptiness. In the beginning, it is bound to happen, so whenever it happens, just wait. Don't fall in the trap. There are patterns the seeker gets entangled with. The first thing is most seekers are lost in an illusory feeling that they have arrived. It is like the kind of dream in which you feel you are awake. You are still dreaming. Your feeling of being awake is part of the dream. the same kind of thing happens to the seeker. The mind is capable of creating the illusion. In the ancient scriptures of the East, it is called the power of Maya. Mind has the hypnotic power to create any illusion. If at night you go to bed hungry, that night you are going to dream about eating delicious food. This is ordinary function of the mind. And on a higher plane, the same thing happens. One is an ordinary sleep and an ordinary awakening that mind prevents. On the path, it is an extraordinary sleep and an extraordinary awakening. But the mind is programmed. It is just a mechanical thing. It simply does its work without bothering. To the mind, it is all the same. Its function is to keep your sleep intact and create a barrier for anything that disturbs your sleep. Everything that you can watch is part of the mind. That's the very key to unlock the door. Everything that can be watched, Kundalini rising, lotuses opening, beautiful fragrances, and light inside, all can be watched. So that simply means they are subtle processes of thought. Those are the real temptations. There is no devil other than the mind. If one can go on watching and enjoying these temptations, yes, you go on playing your tricks. I'm ready to watch. I will watch everything. I will watch even nothing. That is the final and ultimate strategy. The mind says, okay, you are interested in nothing, have it. If you cling to nothing, you are back in the mind. The mind has conquered you. You have been defeated. So you say, okay, I will even watch nothing. I am not going to be entangled in anything again, even nothing. And then the real nothing happens. Judgments. My understanding and experience of meditation is to let it be whatever it is. Just remain silent without any concern, without any judgment, without any appreciation or condemnation. Soon all the dust will settle and you will be left behind in your immense glory. Judgment comes from the past and witnessing is a present consciousness. Witnessing is now and here and judgment is somewhere else in the past. Whenever you judge anything, try a small experiment. Try to find out who has given you this idea. And if you go deeply into it, you will be surprised. You can even hear your mother saying it, or your teacher in school. You can hear their voices still there resounding in your memory, but it is not yours. Meditation is a simple method. Your mind is like a TV screen. Memories are passing, images are passing, thoughts, desires are passing. It always rush hour. And the road is almost like an Indian road. One has to watch it without any evaluation, without any judgment, without any choice. If you choose, if you say, this thought is good, let me have it, or it is a beautiful desire, a beautiful dream, I should enjoy it a little more. I can go into it a little deeper. If you choose, you lose your witnessing. You can lose your witnessing in two ways, either being for or against. And the whole secret of meditation is to be neither for nor against, but unconcerned, cool, without any preference, likes, dislikes, without any choice. The flow of thoughts moves in the mind. Just watch the thoughts. Don't judge what is good, what is bad. Let them pass by just as the traffic passes by. Let the thoughts go on moving, and now, if Rama comes along, or Coca-Cola comes along, whatever comes along, just let them go on passing by. Standing at a distance, just go on watching peacefully. You are neither for nor against. Whatever you deny returns again and again. Try observing this. Deny any thought and observe. It will come again and again. It will torture you around the clock. If you hold on to anything, you are caught. Renounce it, and you are also caught. A mirror just watches. In the same way, when you become a witness like a mirror, all your thoughts start to become quiet on their own. A moment will come when the pathway of thoughts becomes deserted. No one comes. In the silence, the voice of existence is heard for the first time.